What's going on, everybody? It's Burning the Red Shirt. It's been a minute. We had to kind of draw it out. This 100th episode's incoming soon, and so we got to really draw it out and make you guys feel the suspense of that. We're on episode 99, apparently. Sources close to me say. And we had some big news this week. I need a little bit more information on this big news because I've never done the Scott Fishbowl, Andrew. But if you listen to the Fantasy Points podcast, Josh, Mike, Zach, Froton, they discussed the release of the Tadpole Bowl. So are you as hype as everybody else about this?
Oh, it's definitely a good like grow the game type thing. Generally speaking, I don't know. I'm in it for myself as much as anything else. But it's exciting to see that this is like a real avenue. Like last year, we had the college football video game. We had Underdog doing best ball. Now we have the Tadpole Bowl. Like these are real avenues to getting more people interested in the game, which, I mean, it's great, right? Like, who wants to be playing with the same people over and over and over, especially when you're playing in like lots of different formats and leagues and stuff, right? Like, I don't know if you're doing lots of underdog drafts, do you really want to be drafting with the same cluster of 15 people? Ditto, like Fantrax best balls and stuff. Ditto, if you're playing DFS or whatever. So any avenues to get more people interested in the game of college fantasy football, I'm totally here for. While my understanding is like there's no prizes associated with this, which is like womp
That's
womp.
A big turnoff for you.
Yeah, but at the same time, as a hyper competitive person, a large field tournament like this is like interesting. If I'm in it, I want to win it for sure. I want that clout. So let's go.
You can gain some serious street cred from winning this because I think it's going to be such a large field, right? With all the names in it. I feel like even if you have to play for prizes, you have to enter it because you can't just sit here and like watch everybody else have fun and do this and talk about it, right?
Yeah,
I will say this. This is exciting for me because I'm tired of Clint kicking my ass in Champion Series. And so now I have a different avenue, maybe a different percentage odds of winning compared to Champ Series where he always just waxes my ass. Thoughts on the name Tadpole Bowl?
The last two syllables rhyming or sounding similar. If we ran that by marketing, I don't know how they would feel about that, right? I think that you can nitpick to that in that regard. Is that what you were getting at?
As someone that's very nasal and sinusy and just generally speaking, it's not great for like how I say things. It's I think it's great from like it makes sense, right? Fish, tadpole is like a tiny version, but Froton did make a great point. They become frogs, so there's a little bit of an issue there, but we'll let it slide. I think it's clever, and I think a little bit of rhyming makes it a little bit of fun. So have you ever participated in the fishbowl, or have you paid attention to it? Because I think two things we should quickly do before getting into some like nuts and bolts of CFF offseason is help promote it, which is, by the way, if you don't know where to find it, you can just reach out to us so we can share a link. But I think Fantrax, I think if you just go to Froton's timeline, CF Froton, you can find a link where he talks about it and has like a link associated with it. It's a super quick like sign up process just to let them know that you're interested type of thing. But what's the format of this thing? Like, what am I actually signing up for?
Do I get to answer your first two questions, or do we move straight to question number 3?
You can answer as many questions as you want.
All right. So I'll hypocritically answer those first two questions. So I did do a qualifier a bunch of years ago. I think it was just like best ball. You draft your team, and then there's no like, it just optimizes. I did decent, but didn't qualify ultimately. But so annually, curating my social media feed very intently. Two of the things that I always do. We could edit this out if we think that it doesn't play nice, but I always mute a couple of hashtags. The new SFB hashtag. I don't need all these people tweet it. I don't need all these
You
people
don't care
tweeting
about
about
their
their
screenshotted teams?
no, and their what picks they're making for like it, and also the same thing with the Great Fantasy Baseball Invitational. Like that hashtag is getting fucking muted every single year too, because no, thank you. But I would probably feel differently if I was partaking. So there's that. And what you're so the format?
What's the format of this thing? Because
I don't know.
we're talking about like I think Froton was saying like he wants 50 leagues of 12 teams. Is it like Underdog where you're just trying to win be the best team in like regular season and then there's like a playoff format? Like
Yeah,
what
I
is this
think it
thing?
is like that. I think it's like I think it's you play in your little group and then you X amount of people advance and then there's playoffs and such. It's P4 only, right?
I have no idea. I think it's
I
got to be. I think it's all because he was making references of how great CFF is because 100 plus teams.
I don't know. I would bet money that it's P4 only.
You think they end up going P4 only? I mean,
Yeah,
I think it makes a little bit more sense to try to grab all these NFL fans by doing P4 only, but I don't know.
yeah.
By
That's
the way, I just did some quick research. A baby fish is called a larva, an alevin, a fry, or a fingerling. So I think we made the right decision by going tadpole.
we did or did not.
I think we did go right decision. I think
Why?
these other ones, larva, the larva bowl?
Oh, I see. I see.
I'm just not sure that any of these fry is interesting, but I just don't think we could make anything clever out of these baby fish names.
We could have gotten sued by Disney and gone with the Nemo bowl.
The Nemo, yeah, I don't know. I'm
Nemo,
not clever
Nemo.
enough in this area sometimes, and so
Yeah.
I'll leave it to the experts like Froton. Did you see that? Have you listened to this past week's Fantasy Points
No,
podcast?
dude, I'm just deep in the NFL draft game. I if I wasn't getting push notifications nonstop about guys entering the portal, I wouldn't be. I've been out of CFB stuff for like the past 2 weeks, and once the draft is over, this after night one of the draft's over on this upcoming Thursday, then I'm back into CFB.
I could tell you were thick in NFL draft stuff because I I put out that stupid comment about Tanner Koziel on the C2C news. Tanner getting Koziel, and which I thought was insanely clever. And of course, I did. And you didn't say one thing about it, and you typically do. And so I knew you were deep in something.
He's
So
back in the portal.
he's back in the portal. He
Good
spent
for him.
one spring in Madison, Wisconsin, and sent him out.
That's more than enough time with Jeff Grimes. No one needs that.
So there is some. He does plan. Froton does plan on doing some scoring quirks.
Of course.
What are your thoughts on return points in the NFL Fishbowl?
We play. So the industry league has return yards. Did you know this?
I do. Yeah, I think I realized it like halfway through we started playing it.
It's done when it's done right, which I think it is in that league. It's fun because it's done in a way where you weight those yards, like you push down the weight, where it's like not akin to receiving yards or rush yards. They're I think maybe on the same plane as like passing yards or even worth a little less than that. But it makes guys like Jalen Noel, Nick Singleton, like a little more valuable, right? Like sometimes you'll see a guy get like 200 return yards in a game, and like you're just scrolling through your team, and it's like, oh, this guy caught 3 catches for 30 yards and no touchdowns. How the fuck does he have like 15 points or whatever? It's like, oh, I forgot. I don't know. It's a nice quirk, and like, yeah, I think it's an interesting variable to help break ties when you are like going through your draft process.
Yeah, I need to look at this and see which guys really were impacted by it and got the benefit of it. But I don't know. Fantrax doesn't let me scroll to the right. We'll have to see.
It's so funny to me and so outrageous that Penn State returns kicks with Singleton. Like, why do you need that? Like,
yeah. Oh, so here's some interesting. Daquan Wright had some return yardage last.
Stop it.
21 return yards.
It must be off like an onside kick or something. That dude is not like. Can you imagine? Like, what is the like where that he's like a 6'3", 230 X receiver playing tight end. Like, what is he doing?
What's he not doing? That's the question.
Yeah.
I mean,
did you see we influenced him getting drafted against Lucas Haas now, or in front of Lucas Haas.
Of course we did.
Yeah,
Trendsetters. I
possible
mean,
possible pump and dump though.
I don't think it's possible. I think it's inevitable. Michigan had Khalil Mullings, who was like 6'4", 245 returning punts. So, or kicks, I should say. So it could be a strategy. Get the big guy. So I just looked at my roster for Industry League just to
Yeah,
see off the cuff who Dylan Edwards had 438 returning yards. You think he would like still return kicks and punts and stuff if
dude,
he's the RB1?
I'm gonna answer this the same way that you've answered me before when I ask you, like, dude, why is like DK Metcalf or Chris Olave playing gunner? And it's all your dumb coach's influence on the world of Frank Beamer playing Beamer ball and putting your best players on special teams and shit like that.
Ryan
So
Williams had some return yardage. Jaden Baugh, the Florida running back. So some interesting names.
yeah, college coaches love that shit though.
They do. Some of these guys make sense though. So I'm not surprised that Dylan Edwards got so many return yards, but yeah, it'll be something to keep an eye on. He did say that he wants it in some fashion. It sounded like either based on the yardage or maybe even just like a little bit of the bonus just by yes, he did it, like a 0.5 or something.
I like the yardage. It's fun. If like I would not be down if it was weighted in a way where it truly, like, you need to target these people because it's weighted like too close to rush yards and receiving yards.
Who was
But, like,
that Saints receiver that like automatically was like a top 3 round pick because of it? Wasn't like isn't it super heavily weighted? Like isn't it a huge benefit to return kicks and punts in the NFL version of the
no,
fishbowl?
no. Oh,
There
in
was
the fishbowl, they
yeah,
change the rules every year for the fishbowl.
I think so. Last year it was, and there was some random Saints player that was an incredible
That's
draft pick or
funny.
something like that. I don't participate. I also kind of
Yeah.
mute stuff like that too. I don't blame you. So yeah, what's I mean, you're what off the cuff, any initial takes on some of these transfer portal additions?
Trying to think of who's gotten in. I've gotten, knock on wood. I feel like with from the best ball teams that I've drafted so far, I've dodged like pretty much everything after, like, so I was the first one to really get impacted when Harrison Whaley entered the portal like 2 months ago at this point, or a month ago. But since then, I don't think I've really been impacted by transfer portal, which in terms of my teams that I've drafted so far, which it feels very fortunate. Trying to think who's gone in. You could tell I really have been not on top of things.
We had Tanner Koziel. We'll start there. Tanner
Dude,
Koziel was superstar. I forgot how many receptions he had last year.
he was insane.
I mean, do you think he goes somewhere cool, or do you think he's just gonna go to another like meh landing spot?
Yeah, he's gonna go be like tight end 3 on South Carolina, like Brady Hunt did.
I hope not.
What about Mox's boy, Lance Mason?
That was funny. Poor Mox. That was.
Yeah,
I mean, he was standing him hard. Now he's probably just gonna go some like a SEC level school, like Mississippi State, and just never get thrown to.
probably.
Jay Knott went to Oklahoma. I think there's some debate. Like, you don't really want the Arbuckle running back, but like if they paid him a lot of money, I guess let me not even make it about Ott. Do you think there's like a do you think like in the NFL or an MLB where it's like, okay, we pay this guy so much money, like he's gonna play and he's gonna get a lot of usage because of NIL? Like, do you think that'll run similarly in college with NIL where it's like, well, we paid Jay Knott $2 million, which is an absurd amount of money. He's gonna play 75-80% of snaps and get 250 touches.
I would love to see anything, if anyone did any back testing on that, because everyone propagates that theory going into every year, but then I don't know how it actually bears out in terms of results, right? And people love to use that the NIL that players are getting when we talk about expectations for playing time in the spring and summer. And be like, oh, you got paid all this money. You don't think the boosters are going to want to see the return on their investment? It's like,
Yeah.
but what actually happens? I have no idea. I've never done any sort of back testing on it myself. But I don't know. I don't buy into it that much personally. Yes, potentially, I think it's fair, like as a argument for like breaking ties from the outset of the season if you're trying to figure out who's going to start for week 1. But after that, I mean, I don't think teams are super interested in just riding that throughout the entirety of the season if the dude sucks or if it's just not in the best interest of the team.
Yeah, my initial thought is that like on paper that idea sounds good, but college coaches do stupid shit all the time. Like they're
Yeah,
just kind of stubborn. They are not the ones that are paying. And sure, like the boosters in a
right.
sense, like are kind of like the GM and that they kind of make decisions. Like if you get enough boosters on board, like they'll pay your buyout and you're done, right? But at the same time, too, a coach knows that if he just wins, boosters don't care. And if it's
Yeah,
just money to the boosters, the whole NIL thing is weird just because like you don't even know what does it all entail. It just feels like now it's just like contracts
yeah,
with
it's
like a
dumb.
name of NIL. Did you see your boy Ryan Brown is in the portal?
I did. I I'm kind of I don't know how would you feel. So I thought Nico was going to UNC, so I cashed out of my UNC under positions, and now he obviously he's not, and Gio's going there. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about
Geo, we think
UNC.
is going though. I don't think that's technically confirmed,
Okay,
is it?
I don't know. I don't know how to feel about UNC anymore. But I basically signed up for the idea when I bet they're under that we'd be talking about crippled Max Johnson, horrible Ryan Brown, or a freshman at quarterback. And now that the dynamic has changed, so it's like I could always buy back in later, even if it costs a few cents more. But yeah.
Uh,
Uh,
Go ahead.
oh, gee, yeah, I think that Gio's first 4 touchdown, 4 interception game might be what finally stops Belichick's heart, though. Like he doesn't know what I don't think he knows what he's signing up for with the Gio Lopez experience.
Could you name a more opposite quarterback to Tom Brady than Gio Lopez?
No,
Like lefty, run, super dynamic and fast, and like
every play is a carnival. Anything could
yeah,
happen.
anything could happen. That feels like the anti-Belichick quarterback, but
Yeah,
maybe he's a new man, now that he's gone younger with his ladies and
yeah.
he's subscribing to that theory. Cal lost like every single running back. Javian Thomas was I didn't even realize it because like if you don't from like a per carry efficiency
Super
basis, I don't
efficient. Yeah,
realize how good some of these guys are because like I'm like, oh, he ran for 60 yards. I don't really care about that guy. But he ran for like 6.5 yards per carry last year, 100 carries. JV and Thomas. What's interesting is Ott left and he still left knowing that he probably was going to be like a bell cow ish. Is that like really just like Brian Harson's hands are in this cookie jar and it's bad for everybody?
I mean, I don't think we need to overthink it too much. Like Harson is toxic. I love Rolo, but like you when you're making your cake, right, and you put Justin Wilcox, Brian Harson, Nick Rolovich as your ingredients, right? Like, how do you think that's going to go?
Yeah, I don't think you put like a drug addict that's a good guy with a bunch of other drug addicts. Like I think you need to put the drug addict with a bunch of like very religious people to get him back on track, not the other drug pushers. So that's the problem I think with Rolovich and Harson together. Not to call
Yeah,
them drug addicts, but to give you an
yeah, it's
example.
like straight up out of a Batman movie, like putting Penguin and Joker like in them teaming up and shit. It's I don't like it's playing out pretty much exactly how you might expect. We're not even going to get any of the good benefits of like it's not like Rolovich is running the offense, right? So we're not going to get run and shoot type stuff or whatever. All we're getting is just like the social social elements of it of just like this is wild.
Let me ask you this. What was your favorite Rashad Amos at Memphis moment?
Uh the commitment when I talked myself into him being a Mario Anderson type player. It's all kind of been downhill since then, I guess.
Yeah,
We
what a
going back
guy.
to the Mac?
What's that?
We going back to the Mac? Can I make a prediction?
Of course.
2 predictions. Ball State or Rice. Both teams
Ball
want to
State
run the
or
shit out of the ball and have no one to do it.
Yeah, that is true. I'm really interested about this Rice offense
Yeah,
because this guy feels very stubborn with what he does. It's like what it is. I will say though, Ball State probably in the lead. He likes to play with teams that have red colors.
that's true.
South Carolina, Miami,
Um,
Ohio, and Ole Miss.
the Roost having a paywall is one of the most egregious things ever. The only coverage of Rice in the entire country, as far as I can tell, and every single thing is paywalled, and it's not even the kind of paywall that you can get around. Right? So like, what are we doing here?
Go figure. Rice is the school that does that. Do you have a lean on the Memphis running back situation? I mean, or do you just not even care anymore?
So it's Sutton Smith, it's Greg DeRozier's, and there's a third guy, right?
I don't think so. I think it's really just
Yeah, there is. There is. It's the guy Bodiford that they talked up last year and like
is
lied
that
about his age.
the Kennesaw State transfer?
No,
No, that's a different guy.
the names are similar. This is the guy that he's super young. They kept calling him like the 17-year-old running back, even though he was 18. But he still got like a lot of run. I think it's a true freshman, relatively speaking. It's tough. I would lean toward DeRozier's. It's weird how they fucking really are intent on making Sutton Smith happen. I don't know. I haven't watched that much Memphis, and it's not like Sutton Smith has had like that much. Like I feel like he never has really done it on the field. But like they love that guy, right? But I would still lean to.
Former Walton High School graduate.
Is that your
Smith,
school?
yep, he went to my high school.
Him and Christian.
So what's really interesting is I remember DeRozier as like a guy they loved all of a sudden at the very end. You know, he
Yeah.
just kind of went ham. He had that 8 reception game at two. Why does Fantrax do TUL? That could be Tulane or Tulsa.
Thanksgiving night.
He was huge that game. He had, let's see, 5 touchdowns in the final 3 games, and most importantly, 70 return yards. We are going to be a return yard podcast moving forward, by the way. I think the Fantasy Points podcast guys love DeRozier.
Yeah.
I agree. I think they're on it. I mean, I just based on his usage and how they like rolled him out, even though Mario Anderson was awesome, like to me that leans him. And Sutton Smith, I think he tore his ACL. Like that's a fairly significant injury.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just get Wally pipped and you're, to the pit of misery.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see where he goes in our next Champion Series draft. Where was he going? He was like 10th roundish, or was it later?
Amos?
No, DeRozier's.
I think Froton said he got him fairly late, 18th round. This last one by CFF Champs, which is interesting. Like, why wouldn't this did not happen before the news? Did it? Oh, he also took Amos. He took both.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah, we'll see. Is there anything better than like you just having a guy you have found to be kind of decent to good, and then all of a sudden shit happens, and then he's on your, and you're like, oh, I have him on a fantasy team. I have DeRozier on the industry league. It's great. I picked him up randomly. I was like, this guy seems cool, and look at this. Better be lucky than good.
Good feeling.
Great feeling. Let's see here. Quentin Hayes, the Air Force quarterback, is in the portal.
Oh, I made some G5 conference future bets. There's a couple. I think DraftKings and Bet365 have them. They're basically just mirroring each other. But had to pounce and throw a couple things in.
Okay. You just tease us and not give us the.
Yeah. There's a few more I'm thinking about doing too, but so far, in Conference USA, do you want to guess who I bet?
I don't want to guess. I don't want to guess it. Just go for it.
I clicked on 4 teams initially, but I think that the 3 that I didn't bet are like more prime for win total bets than conference future maybe. But I bet WKU at plus 330. Think that their shortcomings last year largely came from just having a trash OC. Now they're bringing over the combination of Maverick MacGyver and the Abilene Christian head coach, right, as their new OC. I think it's just the offense is going to be a lot a lot more high flying than it was last year. It's going to look a little more like WKU from like 21, 22, 23 type deal. They are always going to be near the class of the conference when it comes to just talent and like stars rankings and stuff like that. So they've got a leg up there. I also am like very much down on Liberty this year, who was priced at plus 120 when I looked to win it. Like I do you remember how awful they looked like for almost every game last year, and then took it to a whole nother level in the bowl game against Buffalo, where like they just didn't even
It was
show
the
up.
worst. Yeah, it was the
Yeah, it was
absolute
incredible.
worst performance.
It was incredible. I don't understand the reason for optimism outside of like, yes, throw the, and I know I just use this as an argument in favor of WKU, but like the only argument for Liberty in my estimation is like, yeah, they have a lot of money. They paid a lot of kids to like come in. So like on a stat, like look at their recruiting rankings, it looks good, but like things have looked so toxic there for all of 2024. Why is that? Why should I assume that like the culture still isn't rank with foul stuff that is going to just manifest in like these kids not playing well? I don't know. Like there was no point in 2024 where, and I watch like so much. I think I watched like more CUSA than most conferences because like they do the Tuesday night things right in October. Like that. What else is on at that time? It's only them, and like
But
so.
also too, you're busy during the day on Saturdays, so you miss a lot of
Exactly.
random games. And so what is available to you is more CUSA than other conferences
Yeah.
comparatively for others.
But yeah, there was at no point in 2024 did I feel like that team looked like they wanted to play together. And yeah, sure, maybe they flipped the script or whatever. But like the talent level, I would assume got worse. Their two best players are now gone, Salter and Cooley, right? What did they bring in? To like who did they bring at quarterback? Ethan
Vasco,
Vasco.
right?
I'm not a believer, man. Like I thought he kind of fell flat at Coastal Carolina when he was given a shot. He got pulled multiple times. Like, yes, I think he does kind of align from a skill set perspective to what Chadwell wants to do, and not terrible later round pick in fantasy because he's going to use his legs and he's not a total zero with his arm. But I'm very down on Liberty. I like if I were pricing the CUSA futures, I would make WKU the favorite.
I think the discrepancy between the two is pretty steep. Like, I don't know why what WKU is that much different than Liberty. Like Liberty's past years, but like new staff, and they haven't been the same since the staff is newer. They have an interesting schedule. I think that is very beneficial to them
Which team?
because Western Kentucky,
Okay.
because they play both of the new CUSA teams on the road, which in theory I think is fine because
Yeah.
you're getting the new team on the road. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I think
I
I think about it the same way usually.
they start with Sam Houston at home, which
Week
means
week
more time to
zero.
prep. Week 0. They also don't play Liberty, and I mean they're not going to be able to beat FIU, New Mexico State, Middle Tennessee. The toughest game, obviously, is at Jacksonville State. Final weekend. They play at OSU the week before, which I mean, would they kind of sit guys a little bit in that? Like,
Maybe.
if they're
The
going for the championship the next week, you almost think that they kind of use that as a bye week in a sense. Not going to like bench quarterbacks and stuff like that, but like if they're down by 35 in the second quarter, like they're they're taking their foot off the gas, relatively speaking.
It's interesting that I didn't realize that we have progressed to the point with the CUSA where now every team doesn't play each other anymore.
Well, it used to be 9, right? 9 teams. So
Yeah,
now there must be 11 teams. But is Liberty the only team they don't play in the CUSA?
sounds
They
right.
don't. It was New Mexico and CUSA.
New Mexico State.
Just well, I knew that, but I was asking if New Mexico. What is New Mexico in Mountain West?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
The other conference I played was I played a future for Mountain West. You could probably guess who it is. Longer shot.
Wyoming?
Not that long.
I don't know to hit me with it.
Hawaii.
Oh God, you and Hawaii, man.
Dude,
Okay,
the thesis is really simple, and I proactively thought about this when we were starting champions drafts, and I think it's played out favorably for me. The idea, like Hawaii's going to, I think, just inherently get less attrition in the portal than a lot of other schools. A lot of their kids are local. Um, a lot of the top talent is local, right? Like you just think about Elahado and Pofeli Ashlock. Like these guys, I would think are going to be less likely to transfer out to other schools. So while you think about just the progression of the spring, all these other Mountain West schools are losing kids. Hawaii's staying static. Like that, I see that as a net benefit.
their bad players don't leave. That's correct. Like that's all you're telling me right now. Remember that year you were super high on them, thinking they'd win like 6 or 7 games, and they won 3.
No, I usually black out my losses and
I
I
will
remember my
say
wins.
there is a benefit to them this year, and it's they don't play Boise.
Oh, nice. You're telling me I of course didn't look at schedules at all when I made these bets.
So they have Fresno at home, then at Air Force, Utah State, at Colorado State, at San Jose State, home against San Diego State, at UNLV, home against. The nice thing is they play Wyoming at home. Playing at Laramie is weird,
Stuff.
but they do play at UNLV. That'll be tough. At Air Force, I think you could chalk those up as 2 losses. So do they run the table, and is that enough? The nice thing is they, like I said, they don't play Boise State, so everybody else does, and so maybe you get a little bit of a leg up because Boise State knocks everybody else down.
It's a hope.
Yeah, what are the odds on that? It better be very large.
Not as high as I wanted. 25.
Okay, well, it could be worse.
I'm hoping for another 5.5 win total, and I'll bet they're over. It was nice cashing that at 3 a.m. of week 14 when they beat New Mexico last year to go to 6-6 or 5-8 or whatever it was to get over their 4.5 win total. But this year I'm eyeing a 5.5 for them. Anything less or 5.5, and I'm betting their win total over.
Did you see everybody's fake tight end Grayson Barnes entered the portal?
I did.
What is a move like Grayson Barnes? Like, what's he doing? Where's he going?
I don't know, dude. Like, I don't understand a lot. Like, do you think that most of the spring movement? How would you rank the driving factors? Kid getting pulled into portal by team that he's going to sign with, losing a camp battle, and then there's 3, which probably doesn't get talked about enough, and for a couple different reasons. One, I think it's not a fun subject to talk about, but 2, the players are less prominent. Some of these kids are getting cut, right?
I would imagine some of these guys I've never even heard of. And some of them are like, like for Virginia Tech, like Davey Belfort entered the portal. He just was going to be like a QB4 his whole life. Like,
yeah,
I would hope that he just goes somewhere that has a higher likelihood of playing. But yeah, my guess is it's a mixture of people telling them that they can make more money elsewhere. Like maybe like, well, the question becomes like with Taylor Kozio, like he had to have gotten some sort of NIL from Wisconsin, right?
Yeah.
Is he double dipping by going portal twice in one off season? Like how does that work? Because like in theory, if you can transfer as much as you want and you can get, let's say he got 100K from Wisconsin, did he get all of it? And now he leaves and he can get another contract? Does that, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, you think that it's structured in a way where you can't do that.
You get like whatever the prorated amount is for the time you spend with them. I would hope so, but I don't know. This is so fresh that like I feel like they could have just cut him a check for 100K and then he's just leaving. But I think it's money based. I think I would hope there's some playing time focus based to it. And
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Why is EJ Manuel on my TV ranking NFL draft quarterbacks, and why is Tyler Shuck his QB3?
Tyler Shuck is, I think, because he's a big white guy, right? Like big white guy, good arm. It's like, I don't know. It's the same reason why we drafted him like every year in CFF drafts.
It's a little different.
A little bit different. We can respect the fact that he's awful. It's just going to be
Yeah,
useful.
like he's playing in Kitley and Brahms systems. Like, just give me that guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. What do you think about? Isn't it kind of the same thing as like Jackson Dart in like the
Oh, they both
top
suck
20
for sure.
picks?
Yeah, they both suck, but like it's still funny. Like
Yeah,
who is actually like watching ball not through not just like all 22 cut ups, and like we all know Tyler Shuck sucks.
yeah,
There's no mystery here.
yeah. When the one fantasy football podcast I listened to, the guy was like, I wanted to go into like watching Tyler Shuck, liking him, and I did, and I immediately hated it. Like immediately hated what like it was awful. I watched one game and it was just the worst thing ever, and I'm not gonna like it. I'm sold. He sucks. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. They were like, yeah, his pressure rate or his sack rate's so low, but it's also because he just throws the ball away like immediately. I don't know. I don't even think like career backup is like his upside. Like I don't even think he could be like a Chase Daniel for his
No,
level.
I think he goes back to the male model game by the time he's 28, so like within 2 years.
Yeah, I'm not there on him. Speaking of seventh year players, John Emery Jr. back in the portal.
You think we can get him to the MAC, or it's because he's from the South? It's like Sunbelt for him.
I think I think he could actually go like HBC, like a
Uh,
school in like
yeah,
like a small school in Louisiana, and just ride it out. Like who's paying that guy? He's
5 star,
25 with like
5 star,
4 knee surgeries.
and his academics are great too, right?
I think he's well rounded. I don't know what I see. That is a correct move by Emery to hit the portal, but
Yeah,
like to where? Like if
right.
it's not like Northeast Louisiana State, like where are you going?
Did did you see Trey Cooley went to Troy?
Is that who they replaced Damian Taylor with?
I guess, yeah.
What do you think about Damian Taylor?
Um, Texas A&M RB5.
See, that's the interesting thing is it's like w- do these schools know that like some of these guys are just good because of system? Like Damian Taylor was like good probably because he just played at the right school and then he goes somewhere else and it's like, well, what did you think was going to happen?
I I when I say he's going to Texas A&M RB5, it's not because he sucks. I think that they'll just offer him money, right? And because like all these SEC schools, Big Ten schools that like play this game where they just take from the G5, and like it is correct. Like right, you've got all this money. Why would you want to not build depth and risk your season being crushed by like basically what happened to A&M last year? They were down to like one scholarship running back for a little while, right? Like so that is like the I fucking like the general manager job in general. Like it pisses me off so much. Like these guys that like there's the buckets of people who basically get this job are washed up NFL people that their agents con these schools into giving them this job, sons of famous kids or whatever, and then maybe you have some qualified people as well. But like the people when you're actually in this role and executing on it, right? Like I think this is what you should be doing. It sucks for like the greater sport of college football. Like why do we need Damian Taylor to go be RB5 on Texas A&M? Like that's not helpful for the sport in general.
Yeah, I get that. I just don't think he's all that great. Like he had
Yeah.
1,000 yards last year, but he did a lot of it in like 3 games.
No, no, I'm not. I'm not a fan really.
Yeah, but it is interesting. I mean, Texas A&M does need help bad, especially because everybody's coming off injury and everybody's old. Like EJ Smith's super old, and then everybody else is coming off injury basically. So you do need depth. It makes interesting. It does make sense to add him. But here's a random one. Mox keeps taking Mark Gronowski at Iowa. Is that like? Is that okay?
I don't know. Uh, It that dude, he can run it, right? Like, so I guess that's a thesis there.
Yeah, he's like he can run it. He's good around the goal line, and he can run. Like he's gonna run for 350 yards and 6 or 7 touchdowns on like real offenses. The question is like, I guess like would Iowa do that?
I think I'd rather just take a shot on a guy in a fun system or something.
Or like a battle?
Yeah, it's not for me. I guess I get it.
Would
Though.
you take Jalen Henderson, who like everybody really assumes is the QB2 right now at West Virginia, or would you take Gronowski?
What is your read on that?
The read is what everybody in spring is saying is like everybody just loves Nico.
Do they?
I think
I
it's just like everybody is firmly in the. I think some of the West Virginia people, which honestly they're very transparent. Like West Virginia beat writers have a lot of like they get to see stuff and they say
yeah.
they make their stances. And I think a lot of them started as 50-50. Now almost all of them are like Nico.
Maybe I just read it wrong. I thought that the latest 247 depth chart was
It was Nico. I just looked at it this morning.
it?
Yeah.
Shit. All right, maybe I should stop drafting Henderson.
But is it a worse pick than Gronowski?
I would rather go with Rich Rod quarterback, but you know how I roll.
What about Malachi Nelson or Gronowski?
I think fuck man. I guess he's not even gonna start at UTEP.
It doesn't seem like he's going to start at UTEP. I read something yesterday that was like Skylar Locklear
Yeah,
looked super impressive. It was like Malachi Nelson looked better. He was 12 for 24 for 130 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. That's great news. But Skylar Locklear was like 12 for 15. And yeah, it's not looking good for Malachi Nelson. Did he like con us? What did Malachi Nelson do? Like, how did he do this? How do you go from being like a top 3 quarterback in an insanely talented QB high school class to not going to start at UTEP in year 3 of college?
yeah. People like to bring up the shoulder, right? You got to figure it's more than that, though. Like some mental or work ethic stuff or something. Like
This feels like you remember that guy, that kid in high school that like conned everybody into thinking that he was like picking between offensive lineman, picking between like Cal and Oregon, and he did like a big show off in like his high school gym and like picked Cal, and then people looked into it and they were like, Cal was like, I've never even heard of this guy. You remember that? Did you ever see
yeah,
that?
yeah.
This feels like that. Like this feels like Malachi Nelson did this to us, and then he enrolled like academically at USC and Boise State. And then we just realized, oh yeah, he just is academic. He's not an actual football player. And UTEP bought it. UTEP was like, oh, really now?
Yeah, I wonder what I wonder what it's like. Malachi shows up at camp and it's just like not at all what you were hoping for, I guess.
I mean, I guess if you're UTEP, what could you have seen? Like, you can't see Boise State practices, right? So
Yeah.
if you're recruiting Malachi Nelson as a UTEP coach, you're basically just going off of high school tape, the very limited snaps that he's received in college, and like word of mouth. Like, does Boise State give access of practices to players who can then share it with coaches? Probably not, right?
There was a decent amount of reporting from like open practices and scrimmages, I think, for Boise last year.
Reporting
But
though, not actual like visual tape, right? Like
I don't know.
all UTEP was working with was all that stuff, plus like, okay, this beat reporter said he looked good or he looked bad, right?
I feel like there is a decent amount of coaches talking to each other stuff when it comes to the portal. Probably somewhat variable based on relationships and stuff, considering like there's a lot of theft and such going on. So you don't know what that does for relationships, but some you do hear about like some coaches, like sometimes coaches will talk to each other about a player who's in the portal and stuff. So
I think in this day and age of college football, we're getting I think in the past that was definitely true.
Yeah.
In current day and age where like people are just poaching nonstop, I think it's probably going to become less and less relevant. Like a coach, unless they're like good buddies, right? Like unless there's like some friendly connection. UTEP doesn't really have any beef with Boise. Like, what does Boise have to be worried about with UTEP? You know, it's not like they're an SEC school or an ACC school or something, right? So, like, I don't know, but no. If I'm UTEP, I would take that shot, even if he kind of reports are kind of sketchy because it's a 5-star. But it is shocking
Definitely.
how he's not even going to start.
What have you guys been talking about on Bowling with My Bestie? Are you out of things to talk about yet?
We're never. Well, we take 2 weeks off. We take a week off every time, right? So
Okay.
we're doing this underdog style scoring draft. In this next episode, we're gonna be talking about it. We're gonna be
Lob
talking about
City is running it, right?
He is. I don't want to.
Did he add UConn to the? Did he sneak them into the pool?
He did not have UConn in the pool. He did not have Washington State or Oregon State in the pool.
Is that a premonition?
What does he know that we don't? No, I think it just was an honest mistake.
Yeah.
I will say, my co-host, he flubbed. He made a pick. So we have this like show sheet, right? Balling with My Bestie, and we're listing the players and we're kind of putting notes down of like why we want to like why we like him type of thing. He drafted a player that's not in college anymore and said that he had high upside. And I was like, oh no, did he forget? And he did forget. But in his defense, he was drafting like at dinner. So he was distracted. And
Are you teasing this so that I actually have to go and listen now and figure out?
yeah, you have to figure out who that player is. Yeah. I will say I would 100% be on in this player, shockingly, if he was still available.
If he was still in college.
I will say also, I did not know off the cuff that he was. I was like, I'm pretty sure he's not in college anymore, but I'm not positive. So it's not like he picked Alec A.O. Manor, right? It's not like he picked a guy that's going to be taken in like the top 4 rounds of an NFL draft. So I get it. And this is definitely not making fun of Ethan. His draft is very good. I like a lot of his picks. He made a mistake. It happens to all of us.
When is the next Julian Duggar conversation?
Dude, in Slack, he brings him up every week. Every week. He's like he's pushing for Eli to get to the portal. He wants Eli to go to Tennessee.
Did you see the spring game stats?
Was he who? Which one?
For Pitt.
Who, tell me about. I didn't see it. So
all the quarterback numbers are horrid. Duggars weren't that bad though. But I'm pretty sure there were 4 quarterbacks. Like all of the numbers were like, okay, this isn't great. But let me frame it the most Duggar positive way. Duggars weren't terrible, and Holsteins weren't good.
I mean, I get it. He looked so cool in that bowl game. He needs the transfer though. So when Nico did his whole thing, we were talking about like who could go to Tennessee because like Tennessee's not going Merklinger or whatever, right, as their quarterback. They have to get somebody, right? So
yeah,
somebody had thrown out the name Holstein to Tennessee, and Ethan loved it, of course, because that means Duggar has a shot. Which I think, if let's say Holstein goes to Tennessee, where would you take Holstein in a CFF? Or like he's being picked like 15th round, let's say. How far higher does he go if he goes to Tennessee?
Why does he go higher?
I don't know. You can tell me he doesn't go higher.
Okay.
I think everybody assumes Tennessee's offense is better than systematically, right?
I don't know. That Pitt system looked pretty sweet last year.
It did look pretty sweet. And better conference schedule. So would you say his value would go down in drafts?
Yeah.
Okay. Where would you take Duggar if this happens?
I need to actually watch the Toledo game. I had that was a super profitable game because I had so many receiving unders for Pitt. So like played out amazingly. But I didn't actually catch any of the game. It was like during the day on like a Wednesday, I was doing work, then picking up kids and stuff. And the game went for like 6 hours. But where would I want to actually watch Duggar like and understand like how solo threat is this dude? Right? Can he actually throw the football at all? And like how exciting is the running? The stats, of course, tell a bit of the story, but Like he's definitely one of those guys I'd like to know exactly what I'm buying into, what it actually looks like on the football field.
I think he's fairly solo threat
The
because
lefty, right?
Andy's lefty. He threw for 1,600 yards as a senior in high school. 53% of his passes completed.
Yeah, that shit always is so sketchy when you see stuff like that. It's like, what's going on here?
He's an electric runner, and for that reason, I am in.
Yeah.
My guess is he wouldn't be anything more than like a 20th rounder type of thing.
Did you
Just
see
from a
Tennessee
rushing.
tried to pull Hoover into the portal?
Tennessee tried to do that.
Yeah,
Is that real?
I think so.
That'd be pretty cool. Would you want that?
He said no.
Good. I mean, it would be cool, but I think why would you just not mess with a good thing and just stay at TCU?
Yeah.
Who would be the quarterback if it's not him at TCU?
Ken Seals still there?
So they would go to the portal. What a big domino effect of stuff. This Nico thing, to me, and we don't need to talk about Nico because I don't care about Nico. He's not good enough to talk about as someone that's talked about Malachi Nelson for 5 minutes today.
Right.
More interesting thing about this is what happens with all the other Nico stuff, like the domino effect of it, than the actual decision. If he goes to UCLA, which it sounds like he is,
Yeah.
Joey Aguilar is gone, which is funny. I saw this report that like Joey Aguilar's reps are talking to others about his options. It's like, are we talking about college football players still? So like, where does Aguilar go? Who's like a somewhat intriguing player in like a more pass friendly offense. Like he would be,
Yeah.
if he was like the starter at Texas Tech, we would love him as a quarterback option.
Listen, man, someone has to play quarterback in Kalamazoo. It's still ripe for the picking.
Somebody is going to take the Tennessee job, and then who replaces that guy? Like if Hoover was to take Tennessee, who goes to TCU, which is a prime spot? The domino effect of it all is so much cooler than the actual
of course
decision itself.
Yeah, definitely.
But all right, we got like 2 minutes left. Any final closing thoughts?
No, excited to get past the spring practice stuff, which like, all right, then maybe we can classify this as summer, and if it's summer, we can get some underdog type stuff going, and then like let's start gambling.
I need it in my veins
Yeah.
more than anything right now. But hope you guys enjoyed episode 99. Maybe we'll do something special for 100. It'll probably be sometime in June at the rate we're going.
Yeah.
But enjoy the episode, enjoy the weekend, and we'll catch you guys later.